Grenade by Alan Gratz, Part 2, pages 201 through 206. The Girl Who Died. Hideki? Kimiko gasped, her eyes growing huge. Kimiko! Hideki cried. Hideki couldn't believe his good fortune. His sister was alive and he'd found her. After all he'd been through, after all he'd done and all he'd lost, finding Kimiko felt like the sun emerging after weeks of rain, and he basked in its warmth. Hideki hugged his sister tight. After a long minute, Kimiko held Hideki at arm's length and gazed at him like they hadn't seen each other in years. Hideki wondered what he must look like. Stick thin, barefoot, hair a wet, tangled mess, wearing an oversized Japanese uniform. Did he look years older, the way Yoshio had? Kimiko definitely looked older, more adult. Her round face had lengthened and her full cheeks had flattened. She looked weary and wary, like she'd seen too much to be shocked by anything anymore. Wiser, too. Kimiko wore her nurse's uniform, a gray Western-style pleated dress with short sleeves and a wide white sailor collar. Pouches for bandages and medicine hung from a wide black fabric belt worn high above her waist, and a white nurse's hat covered most of her black hair. Just a hint of the white streak still showed. Kimiko looked as happy to see Hideki as he felt, but then her face fell and she smacked him hard on the head. You idiot, Kimiko told him. You got here just in time to die with the rest of us. Ow, don't! I hurt my head, Hideki cried. Kimiko felt gently in his hair for the wound and found his stitches. What did you do? She asked. What do you mean, die with the rest of you? Hideki asked, deliberately ignoring her question. The Japanese soldiers here are going to attack the Americans tomorrow morning, and we're the first wave, Kimiko told him. They're going to use the Okinawan children as human shields. Hideki's heart cracked into pieces and fell apart. He sat down on an empty ammunition box and stared at the boys and girls at the back of the cave. They were all much younger than him, around 5 to 10 years old. They couldn't know what was coming and couldn't do anything about it if they did. To think about these little boys and girls, after all they had already lost, being thrown to the American guns. Hideki closed his eyes and cried without tears. What are you even doing here? Kimiko asked him. I came to rescue you, Hideki told her. Rescue me? I was about to rescue myself, and now I have to rescue my little brother too. You don't have to rescue me, Hideki protested. I'm rescuing you. Kimiko's expression shifted from exasperated to suspicious. She squinted and looked him up and down. What? Hideki said. Kimiko didn't say anything, but it was clear to Hideki that she could see there was something different about him. Could Kimiko see Ray's Mabui on him without Hideki even telling her about it? There was something else he needed to tell her first. Kimiko, Woto's dead. So are Anma and Isamu. Kimiko put a hand to the wall of the cave to steady herself. I knew that Anma and Isamu were gone. I heard their ship had been sunk, but Woto? I sensed he had gone to join our ancestors, but I didn't know for sure. Tears spilled from her eyes. You and I are all that's left now. That's why I came for you, Hideki told her. I was with Woto when he died. I promised him I would find you. And I did. Kimiko laid a hand on his shoulder, and Hideki covered his sister's hand with his own. I never told our parents what really happened to me, how I got the white streak in my hair, Kimiko said. I never told anybody. Hideki frowned. He couldn't remember a time when she didn't have the white streak. It was years ago, when you were just a baby. I was too little to go in the ocean without Oto or Anma there, but I did it anyway. Me and Fumiko, another girl from the village. A giant wave came and tumbled me, sweeping me under and flipping me over and over so I didn't know which way was up. I've never felt so helpless, so out of control. I couldn't breathe, couldn't scream. I hit my head on a rock and passed out. And the next thing I knew, I was flat on my back on the sand and Fumiko was bent over me, sobbing. She told me I wasn't breathing when she pulled me out of the water. I had drowned. I was dead. And now I was alive again. Hideki was aghast. How had he never heard this story before? I never told Oto or Anma what happened because I didn't want to get into trouble. But when my hair grew back on the place where I'd cut myself, It grew in white. And from that day on, I had a special connection with the dead. That's why I'm a Yuta. Her voice grew soft. I've been dead once, Hideki, and I don't want to die again. Then we've got to get out of here, said Hideki. Is there another way out of the cave? Yes, Kimiko told him. But you're not going to like it.